Hello, Keith Rucker at VintageMachinery.org. Back to work on the LeBlond lathe today, and I think what we're going to work on right now is getting our gear train put back on here. So we took this off when we were doing the restoration, and it's all been cleaned up, it's all been painted pretty much, ready to go back on. And basically what we got here is a bracket. They call it a banjo because it kind of has a round part, whatever, that fits on here, and it adjusts. There's a gear here, there's a gear here. This is the drive gear that drives the quick change feed box and the feeds for feeds and speeds. There's a idler gear that's in the middle, and then there's another gear here that actually goes in here and actually drives that shaft, goes through this gearbox to change things. And you can change out the gears on here, the gear ratios, to do different things, but for the most part, it's just one setup. You kind of leave it alone, but there are options to do other threads that are non-standard or whatever, where you could change gears out to do that, and that's the reason we have this set up. So we're going to get in here and start putting this stuff back together. So this is the banjo bracket that we're talking about. It's going to go back on here, and it's real important. We got this little stud. This is where our idler gear will install. It's designed where it can float depending on where it needs to be. But we're going to just start by kind of putting this piece back on. I am going to just put a little oil on this. It's just a metal to metal ring around here, and I just think it'll be good to put a little oil in here just to make sure that we don't get any corrosion or anything, and also to hopefully help it go back together. There we go. All right, that's pretty much back on there now, and again, this just kind of pivots on here to allow you to get that gear in place. So I think, let me go look at my pictures. I want to make sure I'm going back together right, but I think we need to put some nuts on here next and then start installing our gears. Well, I've got this positioned roughly where it was before. I can actually see marks on here where the washers were behind this. And I might have to do some fine tuning, but it should be pretty close. I purposely left those on there when I took it off. I am putting new hardware on here. The washers and bolts on these were they were pretty chowdered up. So anyway, I just decided I'd put some fresh hardware on here. These just have regular nuts and washers on them. And I see there's also one back here on the back. For right now, I'm just gonna kind of snug these. I'm really not trying to tighten them, although I think I will pull it back just to make sure that's all the way back. I'm gonna leave it a little bit loose because I may have to fine adjust these whenever I get in here in a minute. So. All right, the two gears, there's a big gear and a little gear, and I went back and looked at my photos. The little gear goes on the bottom. The big gear goes on the top. And I probably wouldn't have remembered that, but I took pictures. Those are both back on where they go. So now comes the idler gear in the middle. For this idler gear, there's a little roller bearing in here that all this goes together on. So first you get this piece. This is the actual roller bearing, and I took this over to my parts washer, and I really cleaned this up, make sure we got all the dirt and stuff out of this needle bearing set here. That goes on. Next comes the gear itself, and again, this has all been cleaned up. It's ready to go back together. And this is where we have to kind of mesh everything together. And it looks like I did a pretty good job positioning that banjo so that everything would go back together. That all looks good. Next is a little washer here that comes on here. And I don't have my nut. Let me go find my nut. Well, I just saw a little problem and I want to get this straightened out before I go any further. I got to look at this and my gears, the top and this gear and these gears lined up pretty good, but this one was in a little bit. I said, that don't look right. So I went back and actually looked at my video that I did taking this apart, and there's a little washer that goes back behind this. So I'm going to have to pull this one back off and then put that back in there. So we'll put this on. There it goes. Put our gear back on. And tap her in place. Yeah, that looks a lot better already. And let's put our idler back in there. Much, much better. Everything seems to be lining up now. And I'm going to go ahead and put this one on. All right, I want to make sure that before I tighten that in, yeah, I can feel a little bit of play on both gears. That's exactly what I want. And we'll get some washers here. One here, one here. And these had these little short nuts on them. See, that goes that way. And I'm going to go ahead and tighten these in place now. I think that's where they need to be for the banjo. That's all in alignment, much, much better now. I do still need to get that tightened up. There's a hole in that gear. I'm going to have to roll it around. Let's see if I can. Yeah, that's exactly what we want to see happen. So I'm going to line this hole up with that, and I'll come in there with a socket and tighten that one up. I'll do that off camera, but that looks good. Before we go any further, I'm going to get my grease gun, and we're going to grease this end bearing up. Make sure we got plenty of oil, grease on that needle bearing in there, particularly since we cleaned it up so good. Just going to pack it until it doesn't. Okay, actually I got grease coming out of the back here, so I think we're good. And I got a bunch of other grease fittings in here. I'm going to go ahead and just while I got the grease gun here, give all these a shot or two and get everything ready to go. So we can kind of see it all coming together now. I'm turning where the belts will be on the motor. I've got the spindle engaged, and this is now feeding out back here. On this gear, it goes to the idler, it goes to this drive gear that drives the quick change pulley, or quick change gearbox, and then that is actually feeding both my feed rod and my threading rod. It's feed rod and threading rod up to whatever pitch we have this set on. I don't have my plate on here right now to see, but this is all working just like it's supposed to. So I have a cover that covers this up. The paint's still drying right now, but as soon as I get that ready, we'll go ahead and put that on and cover this up. And we're making good progress here. This is pretty much wrapped up except for putting the cover on now. I've come in here and I put a little bit of grease on these gears here, just to give them a little bit of lubrication on the gears themselves, so they should be ready to go. So next, we've got a little cover, cast iron cover, that will go on this and protect these, keep stuff out of the gears and keep people out of the gears. And there's just a couple of little screws here that hold these in place, so let me get these started. There's a screw there. These are just socket cap screws. And there's another one down here on the bottom. And there it goes. Tighten this up. All right. That is installed. Still got a place here where we can grease that idler gear in the middle, but this is all on. I think that's going to be all we do in this episode. We've got all our change gears back in place. We got the cover back on. Everything's reinstalled, ready to go here. What we really have left is the electrical stuff, getting the belts hooked up, and I think I'm going to do that in a separate video. I've just run out of time this weekend. I had some other things going on. We had some prep work to get ready for this, and anyway, time is up, and I'm on the road this whole coming week. So next weekend, hopefully we'll be able to get back on this machine and get her knocked out, get it where we can start cutting some chips. So that'll be a wrap for this episode. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll finish this up just as quick as we can. Thanks.